pleasant good evening to all of my fans across the globe. I, Imo Rameses Bakari, your psychologist and life coach, I am happy to be here with you once again because I want you to go higher. Because I want you to go higher so that you can unleash your fire. That's my desire. Welcome, welcome, welcome once again to your favorite YouTube channel. Over the years, and particularly since the pandemic began, we have been here with you, and we know that you have been very impressed with our work. So this evening we will continue with our normal format of a motivational word, telling you about our services, doing the presentation and reminding you about our services at the end. But although we know that you have already concluded that this is a channel you should support, and those who are listening and viewing for the first time, we are sure that you're going to make that decision. We just like to reiterate some of the reasons why this channel is one deserving of your support, and one where you will hit that subscribe button, turn on your bell notification, ensure that you like, share and make a comment. One of the things that will guarantee success in life is being consistent, and you will agree with us that we have been consistent every week. We are here to present to you. So on the basis of consistency, on the basis of our commitment to you, right, no matter whatever the situation is, we are here with you. So consistency is certainly a reason for our support, our commitment to you as servant leaders. We have also encourage you to become more reflective. So by listening to our videos, we have encouraged a more reflective attitude towards life. Alright? We have encouraged you to put a plan in place to guide your day. Adjust the plan accordingly. So we have encouraged you to be a more organized person. Certainly through our offerings, we have helped to increase your knowledge. We have gotten you through that reflection to think about things that you will normally overlook, such as your attitude to yourself, to others, your behavior, your thinking, your motivation. Alright? We have also given tips to help you take some steps to become more healthy, both on the mental side and on the physical side. We have also encouraged you to take up a cause, a just cause. At the end of the day, there are so many things that are wrong in the world, and this channel has encouraged you to take up one of those causes and make your contribution. Alright? So, whether it's helping you to increase your knowledge, to become more reflective, because of our consistency and our commitment, helping you to become more organized, helping you to consider the finer things in life and areas that certainly have a big bearing on your success, in terms of understanding emotional intelligence, in terms of understanding motivation, in terms of helping you increase your knowledge and helping you become more focused. All of these are reasons that I'm sure you will agree with me that this channel certainly is deserving of your support. So those of you who have been consistently listening and viewing, we encourage you again to reach out to your networks and allow them to become part of our network by supporting this channel. Alright? Inform your friends, your relatives, your workmates, your associates in church, wherever they may be, your teammates on a sporting team. There is something in this channel for everyone. So I encourage you, and I know you will support us. We are appeal, present our case, and you will listen to us here, and then you will have justifiable reason to determine, if you are listening or viewing for the first time, why this channel is deserving of your support. So we count on you, we depend on you, and we know you will come through in a positive way for us. So now I will revert to the normal format in terms of motivational word. Now, the topic that I will deal with today is a continuation of a topic I dealt with a few weeks ago, which is in the area of influence. The first presentation I did was something called the power of influence, and the second one on influence was something entitled how to influence yourself. And today's one will be entitled understanding how influence works. We're going to look at a few factors. I'm going to cite the work of a fellow psychologist to guide the discussion. And of course, I will start off with a motivational word. And the motivational word, in keeping with that theme of influence, is that we should all try to understand the soft spot in those who we are trying to influence. Strive to identify the soft spot in the individuals or organizations you are trying to influence, and then influence will become as easy as butter slapped onto bread, right? So again, identify the soft spot, understand it in those who are trying to influence, and influence will become as easy as pasting butter and bread. So, oftentimes, we have heard that the way to the heart of a man is through his stomach. And I guess many of the ladies out there who fully understand that, I'm sure you're doing quite a good job in ensuring that those who you're responsible to feed, that you feed them to the very best of their ability and to their liking. And in that way, certainly you'll bring joy to them, and it will be much easier to reach them on many other fronts. All right? The soft spot for some is children, causes around children. Now, when we talk about, we have both the positive and the negative realm, but of course I am dealing on the positive side. For example, organization might have part of their corporate social responsibility policy to support causes that help to improve the lives of children. And if you understand that, you can easily target a message to them that might easily bring them within your grasp to get their support. On the negative side, which I'm not promoting, but it is worth mentioning, there are many perverted and sick minds out there, and there are many adult people, sadly, have an interest in having sexual affairs with young children. And that kind of behavior, of course, we want to totally denounce. So when we talk about a soft spot for children, we are not talking about any kind of action that will abuse and traumatize these children. So those of you who may be so inclined, watch out. Watch out. That certainly is not deserving of a shout out. Protect our children, help them to grow in a normal way, and avoid such trauma. However, the organizations that support the causes of children, let us understand that soft spot that exists in them, that connection they have with that, and let us tailor our messages so that we can easily influence them, so that we can get their support in helping to promote good causes for the advancement of the children of the world. So that is the motivational word for you today. I know that has resonated with you. I would like you to reflect on it, ponder on it, and allow it to guide you in terms of how you try to influence. Because once you can identify that soft spot, once you understand that it exists in an individual or organization, then it becomes much easier for you to tailor a campaign to influence them to support what you are proposing to them. So we also remind you of the other services that we offer. We offer coaching and counseling services on a one-on-one basis and in a group format. We run a number of courses in the area of leadership, entrepreneurship, psychology, sociology, culture, corporate development, etc. And we also have a number of ongoing courses. For example, we have a 4-week public speaking course, and that course runs, of course, as I said, for 4 weeks. It is $1,200 for students and $1,800 for the general public. You do presentations at every session you attend. We also explain the modules for you that will help to empower you in terms of employing some of the techniques that you can use to become a better speaker. And you get guided practice and proper explanation. And of course, your presentations are evaluated and you are guided accordingly. So that's once again $1,200 for students and $1,800 for the general public. There is also an ongoing 10-week course entitled The Fundamentals of Psychology at $3,800. You can pay that in 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 parts, and we so are committed to allowing you to do this course. We can even organize a 4-part payment. So in that course, we look at concepts in psychology, such as nature versus nurture, determinism versus free will, the mind-body problem. We look at theories, whether it's psychoanalytic, psychosocial, cognitive. We look at how your childhood experiences have impacted your behavior. All right, how other social influences have impacted your behavior, genetic impact, among a host of other factors that drive behavior and thinking. We also have an ongoing 4-week course entitled Attaining Emotional Mastery and Resilience. That course is $1,800 for students, $2,500 for the general public, and we have a special offer for groups of 5 where a person will pay $1,500, the group of course will pay $7,500. And in that particular arrangement with you, you are getting a $1,000 discount because the normal price is $2,500, but we are taking out $1,000 and you will just pay $1,500 once you enroll in that course as part of a group of 5. So we have a host of services, courses, as I said, the services in terms of counseling and coaching, the workshops, etc. And all you have to do is give us a call at 1-868-778-5141, 1-868-779-2544, or you can email us at leadershipwithadifference@gmail.com. So once again, call us at 1-868-778-5141, 1-868-779-2544, or email us at leadershipwithadifference@gmail.com. So we look out for your calls, we look out for your emails, and we are ready to serve you to the best of our professional ability. Based on our training and our experience, we are ready to provide those services to you. So call us anytime and we are ready to shine. So I will now get into this evening's presentation. So the question or the topic is understanding how influence works. Now of course, to understand how influence works, you will not be able to, I will not be able to present in one session to go through all aspects, but certainly there are some aspects that I will be able to touch on. And I will be referencing the work of a professor from Arizona State University, Professor Cialdani, who wrote a very powerful book entitled The Psychology of Persuasion. And in life, we influence others, we are influenced. So persuasion is always part of the equation, either wittingly or unwittingly, So it's very, very important that we all have a deeper understanding, because marketers, advertisers, teachers, you name it, parents, they are all in the business of trying to influence, all right? So drawing on the work of Professor Cialdani in that book, He said that it is very important that we understand the automatic triggers that people try to touch on. Now, the very revealing pronouncement he made about that is that most of us are unaware of those automatic triggers. However, the advertisers, the marketers, and all those who are involved in the business of influence, they normally will incorporate the services of psychologists, and other behavioral scientists, marketers, etc., to try to ensure that they zero in on touching those triggers. So you reference in the book a very important example where he cited a mother turkey. And the mother turkey, once they are hearing the cheap song of the young ones, will be protective and very guarding of the young ones in terms of ensuring that they are safe and secure. And that song, it is so automatic, as explained by Professor Cialdani, in that even if an enemy of the turkey produces the same song, because of that automatic nature of the response, the turkey will respond in a like manner. Another very telling point he made is that in the absence of the cheap song of the turkey, the mother turkey will ignore the young one, or in an extreme instance, even kill their young ones. So that automaticity and that behavior, it struck me in a very deep way in terms of understanding, how influence works. Right? So when we extend it in a broader context, in terms of looking at our own circumstance as human beings and how we are influenced, I think it makes it very, very, very interesting. In that, all of us, we have been conditioned. And a lot of the conditioning that we have undergone, we are not even aware that we have been conditioned by things that have been happening in our lives, right? Whether it's over time or whether it's within a recent time. For example, you may have visited a dentist and your visit might have been perhaps frightful, even traumatic, and because of that bad experience that you had, the mere sight of a dentist chair will trigger certain responses in you whenever you visit again or whenever you see anything resembling a dentist chair. The sound of the drill, of the dentist drill, you may have been conditioned, given that bad experience, to respond in a negative manner, to respond in a manner where you felt overwhelmed with fear, all right, and trepidation, all right. The room, the dentist room, the colors in the room, etc. All of those things may have conditioned you, based on that negative experience, to respond in a similarly negative way once those triggers are present. And that would be totally beyond your rationalization, but certainly the foundation will have been laid based on that bad experience you had at the dentist. Of course, the reverse is true in terms of pleasant memories. We'll have been conditioned to remember well the circumstances surrounding pleasant memories. Probably in terms of females, a man, a young man, an old man, whatever age category, who eventually became your husband. You might have recalled a vacation time. You might have recalled the clothes that were worn at the time. the kind of deodorant that was used, etc. And whenever anything of that nature comes within your view, it triggers those memories. Again, being conditioned by the experience, in this case, in a positive way. And Professor Cialdini made a point that we live in a world of very complex stimulus that we are constantly influenced by. And we have so much to deal with that we also look for shortcuts that could prompt the triggers. For example, you drew the example that most of us would always be delighted if we have like food coupons, because one, if you get a number of food coupons, one, you would immediately think of where you can save money, all right? You can save time, etc. And certainly, you know, it's something that will produce a very positive trigger in you, and you look for any opportunity where you can get such items, especially in the times in which we live with food prices, you know, gone mad, all right? So Sparrow sang about capitalism gone mad, but I don't know, we have to get a stronger word now to describe what is happening in terms of food prices. There are a number of explanations in terms of the COVID-19 pandemic, the interruption in the supply chains, and the Russia-Ukraine war has not made it any easier. So prices were already high, and then within a very short space of time, prices have gone through the roof in terms of the rapidity in increases. So when we look at things like these, you know, it's things that we must take into consideration to have a deeper understanding of how we can be influenced. All right. So the marketers, as I said in previous presentation, the advertisers, they pay attention in terms of how they will frame a message. Because in framing a message, the use of a particular word or its use in a particular way can be the trigger that can get you to buy without you even recognizing it. So a word is not just a word, but it's how it is phrased and how it is presented. A color is not just a color, all right? So they will pay attention to the use of certain colors, right? Certain backdrops, etc. And all of these things can be triggers that can produce that automaticity in people to drive them, to influence them, to support things without they even recognizing it. So I think, you know, the work of Professor Cialdini is very important, and those of you who can put your hand on the book, it will be very vital that you study the book to see how people influence us. It may appear normal to you, but there's another study that went behind it. For example, you drew an example in the book where an item in a store, a clothing store, the item was not selling at all. And they tried a number of strategies, typical strategies, and those strategies did not work. One was to push it harder, you know, try hard to sell it. That did not work. Positioning the item in a different part of the store, that did not work. And inadvertently, they made a change in terms of the pricing, where it's supposed to be half of the price, but actually the sign suggested twice the price. And in two tools, as we say in the Caribbean, those clothing items disappeared. And the strategy, the concept that worked there is that expensive is equal to excellent. All right? When something is expensive, it is normally associated with high quality. So sometimes to sell a product is not always advisable to start very low. So some marketers when they come high and they promote, that question of quality without actually saying it, they use what the marketers call a skimming strategy. So they'll enter a market at a high price, people associate expensive with excellence, and they will swoop and skim, extreme profits in a short space of time. And that strategy is called the skimming strategy, and we can align it with the idea that expensive is equal to excellence. And in local parlance and Caribbean talk, people will say, if you want something good, you gotta spend the money. So psychologically, a high price sometimes could work. Now, there are those who may start with a low price, and they use what we call a penetration pricing strategy. So in using the low price, now they are able to capture market share, and over time, penetrate the market. So those concepts I mentioned there, we should pay attention to it and recognize how they are used amongst us to influence us, to support, whether it's a service or whether it's a product. In some cases, the strategies used, sometimes people wonder whether it's an attempt to manipulate. For example, in the realm of social psychology and in terms of strategies that people use, there is something called the low ball technique, where you will get a buyer to agree at an offer at a low price that you certainly didn't intend to keep. And because of that commitment, you suddenly now increases the price, and the person now is committed. Now that, I guess you can say, might be the most ethical way in which to conduct business. But what I'm doing is just pointing out to you techniques that people use, and if you become more aware of those techniques, then you might be in a better position either to allow yourself to be influenced or not influenced. All right? We also have a strategy called "That's Not All." And for example, car sales personnel, they are not only selling the car, but they are also selling a number of accessories. So if you are interested in the car, you're excited about the car, they will, step by step introduce the accessories, because after all, that's not all. It's not just this nice car, but to make the car even nicer, you have all of those different accessories that will be presented to you, and you could find yourself walking away with a high bill and even smiling about it because of the strategies of influence employed by the seller. There's also the concept of contrast, specifically perceptual contrasting. And another beautiful example I would like to draw from that book by Professor Cialdini is where he used the example of having three pails of water, one hot, one cold, and one lukewarm. And having the persons firstly place their hands in the hot water and in the cold water, and then place it in the lukewarm water. And in placing it in the lukewarm water, the hand that was initially feeling cold felt hot, and the hand that was initially feeling hot felt cold. So the point and the illustration he was making is that through contrast, things do not appear as they really logically should appear because of that contrast concept. And drawing it now into the line of how salespeople try to influence others using contrast. An example, a very pertinent example, was known where a suit, now this was in a US context, might have been selling for about 495 US, that was presented to the buyer on the high side. But after presenting the suit, they would have presented an expensive sweater, less than the 495, probably 95 US. And that 95 US that normally might have been considered expensive, after all, because of the contrast of the high price of the suit versus the sweater, after all, it wasn't so bad and the person may be influenced and become a willing buyer. So it's important for us to understand how influence works. The examples I have shown so far certainly should have driven home that message of how influence works. Then another very powerful example is that in the retail, in the real estate market, where sellers try to sell houses, a typical strategy, according to Professor Siadani, and many of you may have been influenced by such a strategy, and as I'm saying it now, it may come clearer to your mind what really happened. You know, the seller may present a number of rundown houses with prices that are pretty high. But the strategy is to bring it to the point when they present the one that you may really like. You, based on that contrast principle, where you will have ruled out those rundown houses at a particular price, when you see the one that you really like, the example drawn in the book is that the salesperson normally like to see how the eyes of the buyer light up, right? Because they have found the price of the beautiful home, and the actual high price no longer looms large before them because of that principle of contrast that is used to influence you. So, ladies and gentlemen, all of those who are listening and viewing, it is of critical importance that we really take a deeper look in understanding how influence works. So all of the points I have made, I am sure that they are worthy of your reflection, of a deeper thinking about them, and to really, prep ourselves to understand what is happening around us. Because I said, some of the influence that we are impacted by, we are totally unaware. Professor Cialdani made a point that most of the automatic triggers that people try to target, we ourselves are not aware. So if we can become more aware of those triggers, especially in the time of strong austerity in which we live, severe financial constraints, high unemployment, etc., we might be or should be in a better position to protect our scarce resources and only allow ourselves to be influenced if there's really a need that we need to satisfy, and do not allow our marketers and advertisers to create a false need and to find money that sometimes you don't have. I remember the retired Justice Henry Cross making a very profound statement, and oftentimes people spend money on things that they don't have, so of course we're talking about the use of credit. And if you don't really have a particular need, and you're doing that, it is a recipe for disaster. So I know the message resonated loud and clear this evening, a very important message, where I highlighted a number of examples to help you understand better how influence works. And if we can understand that, as I said in the beginning, one of our objectives in having this YouTube channel is to help you increase your knowledge, is to help you become a better human being, is to help you make better decisions, is to help you become a more productive person, wiser person, and a person whose contribution that will be pleasing not only to yourself but to others. So I conclude this evening's presentation by reminding you that you have a responsibility to help us fulfill our ambition of becoming the #1 YouTube channel. And I know you have been impressed with the presentation, so I know subscribing to the channel is part of the course. Ensure that you put on the bell notification, ensure that you involve your other networks in supporting the channel. Ensure that you support us through our YP link on the description page by making your financial contribution. Support us by calling us to set up a counseling and coaching session. Support us by participating in our training programs, whether it's a 4-week public speaking course, whether it's a 4-week emotional mastery course, or the 10 weeks fundamentals of psychology, among the other workshops. All you need to do is give us a call at 1-868-778-5141. Give us a call at 1-868-779-2544, or email us at leadershipwithadifference@gmail.com. And as I said in the opening motivational word, identify the soft spot in others and tailor your message accordingly, and influence will be as easy, as we say in the Caribbean, as Sunday morning. So I thank you once again for tuning in to our channel, and I expect you to support us as I have presented, and we look forward once again the following week to return with another insightful and powerful presentation. So in the meantime, between time, reflect, view all our videos, share them, like them, subscribe, and we will see you next week for another of our presentations. So bye for now, and look forward to us next week. Please God. Thank you.